Hello. Has anyone addressed how dark it is? You guys can't see me at all, right? Has anyone addressed this? No, yeah. I was in the back watching. It feels like we're up here telling spooky stories. Because normally I start my set by addressing how long my neck is, but I don't think you can even see it yet. I'm 6'4", but it's a lot more fun telling people that I'm 6'1". Yeah, because when I'm asked how tall I am by a guy who's like 5'10", when I tell him I'm 6'1", he's just absolutely devastated. I was a short kid though, growing up. I really was. Sophomore year of high school, I was 5'4", so I know what it's like to be short. And you know, it kills me because I've always loved playing basketball. As a matter of fact, I used to idolize Michael Jordan, so much so that back in 5th grade, I decided to go bald. All of my friends wanted to be black, I just wanted to be bald. But what I did not anticipate is that a bald 5th grader sends a different message than what I intended. I was so confused why people were telling me to keep fighting. I am skinny, but I'm too lazy to get jacked. I'm more lazy than I am insecure. So if you see me jacked, just know that means someone really hurt my feelings. Sometimes I like going up to a ripped guy and just being like, what was her name? But I have been going back to the gym recently to make myself presentable for mating season. Within the next month or two, I should be looking like a hot piece of giraffe. I've also been trying to improve my jawline, so I've been going to sleep wearing a ball gag. Nothing too fancy, just your textbook red ball gag. Khakis in the streets, ball gag in the sheets. People often ask me why I'm so happy, and I think it's because I start every day by listening to the greatest hits of Sean Kingston. Yeah. Takes me about 12 minutes. I was feeling a little melancholy the other day. If you're unfamiliar with the word melancholy, it basically just means lugubrious, and I cheered myself up by taking a bath. A long bath. I take my baths very seriously. No bubbles, no bullshit. I sit in there at a perfect 90-degree angle. I look like I'm driving a go-kart. My extra long tub is probably the only real nice thing about my apartment. I live in a pre-war building. Pre-war building, yeah, it's a pre-revolutionary war. Yeah, it's been rent stabilized for a while, so they pay 48 shillings a month. Been trying to get some artwork for my apartment, so I commissioned a painter. I got 2 paintings. One is a portrait of myself, and the other is a self-portrait of the painter. So now when people come over to my apartment and say, Eric, that's an awesome portrait of you, who painted it? I just go, this guy. I highly recommend you all get a portrait of yourselves. It's an excellent background for Zoom meetings. I hope you don't think that's narcissistic of me, by the way, to have a portrait of myself. You know, because I think in general, like, comedians are misunderstood. We're not narcissists. We're gods. I do have a roommate. He's a man. And we have different beds. And, But a couple nights ago, he came into my room at 2 in the morning to take my phone charger. I woke up and went, oh, because I was wearing my ball gag. Someone recently said I'm very rigid on stage. Like, what are you talking about? I'm loose as a goose. But I have two modes of comedy. This is mode 1, and this is mode 2. Lately, I've been trying to pick up women at the New York Public Library, but I keep getting cucked by the no-talking policy. I don't know if you know this, the New York Public Library has unequivocally the hottest and wisest women in the city. So many learned hoes. The first time I went there, I was genuinely astonished by the beauty. I instinctively removed my beret. I went up to one woman and quoted Descartes. I said, "I think I should be your boyfriend, therefore I am." It sounded a little creepy though, because I whispered it. But, Oh, the weirdest thing happened to me at the library the other day. You know, I can't say this definitively, but I'm pretty sure this guy Pythagorean theoremed me at the urinal. He asked me how tall I am. Then he asked me my shoe size. I think he took A and B to calculate the size of my C. He could have just peered over the divider. That's what I did. And he had one hell of a C. When we were in the bathroom, he sneezed. And I decided not to bless him. Because God already blessed him enough. Before we continue digging into this comedic feast, I'd like to take a second to thank my benefactor, Jesus Christ. Let's clap it up for Jesus. All right, let's give him a proper chant. All right. Give me a J. I need more of you. Give me a J. J. Give me an E. E. Give me a W. See, I'm a very playful man. I actually hurt my arm last week playing in my church's dodgeball league when I was throwing stones at the non-believers. As I always say, come to Jesus or come to Papa. What else do you need to know about me? Oh, I did go to a very good college. I'm not going to say which one, but it's top 3. You know, Harvard, Yale, University of Wisconsin. And, I initially was a psych major there. I wanted to become a therapist because I love secrets. And but psych was good because I feel like it helped me reconcile some of my inner inconsistencies. Like I realized that like when someone's being hypocritical, I call them a hypocrite. But when I'm being hypocritical, I call myself a complex individual. Here's an example of my complexity. Like, I always feel very uncomfortable when I catch a guy like shamelessly checking out a woman. I was like, dude, can you please stop staring at this lady's fantastic ass? Sometimes I'll see a woman like that and think to myself, yeah, she's hot, but is she wise? Talk to me after the show if you're in the middle of that Venn diagram. It's very weird because I can see you guys so much better than you can see me. It's very jarring when you don't laugh. But there's this quote I love by Carl Jung. Carl Jung, the psychologist, not to be confused with my nephew, young Carl. The quote is, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you." The world told me to work in finance. And by the world, I mean my dad. Here's another quote. "Dogs are awesome." That's a quote by young Carl. He's not nearly as insightful. I did dabble in the dark arts of finance. Yeah. I I had 2 full-time jobs at Wall Street. One was being an investment banking analyst, and the other was telling people I was an investment banking analyst. Within the first month, though, I was working like 90 hours a week, which barely gave me any time to tell people I worked in investment banking. I wasn't a good fit. I really didn't like it. I was told my email sign-off was unprofessional because I signed off with Memento Mori, which is Latin for remember you will die. Dan, please send a finalized spreadsheet by 11 p.m. Memento Mori. One time I emailed this guy, and he replied, "Bro, this is literally my job, and I'm better at it than you'll ever be." So I emailed him back saying, "Wow, you are very insecure. And so is your job. I'm coming for you." Memento Mori. I'm a very playful man. I remember when I knew I had to leave finance. We had this big meeting. We had a big meeting, and one of the guys started pounding his chest like he was Leo from Wolf of Wall Street. And soon enough, one by one, people joined in, pounding their chests, until the entire team realized the first guy was choking. Nice. You know, it's interesting because going from finance to stand-up is an interesting transition. And, you know, a lot of my friends weren't very supportive at the beginning. I remember my friend came to a show and he told me I was never going to make it. I said, "How do you know? You've never done comedy." He said, "I don't dance, but I know a bad one when I see one." I said, "I hope you dance your way to hell." No, I didn't say that. I thought of that in the shower 3 years later. He's a cop now. So back in 2020, I went to some of the protests. And I held up a sign with a picture of him that said, "Defund Brian." Later that night, I texted a picture of the sign, and underneath it, I wrote Memento Mori. I'm a pretty cultured guy. Recently, I went to Carnegie Hall for a concert, and the tickets were only $7, and I quickly learned why they were only $7. I went to a middle school recital by myself. And I had a phenomenal seat, which made me feel a bit creepier. I was also at the Met, and recently I was frolicking about, and I got really sad, because I realized there will never be a statue of me. I don't have the ass for it. You never see a statue with a small butt. That's why Abraham Lincoln is sitting down the Lincoln Memorial. Maybe there could be a statue of me sitting on Lincoln's lap. It's past my bedtime right now. I hope you know that. I get 8 hours of sleep every single night. I only yawn to be more relatable to others. Haven't had an authentic yawn in 3 years. Although I did sleep pretty poorly a couple weeks ago, and I ordered a decaf coffee, but she caffed me. I got caffed. So that night I was just in bed, wide awake, so pissed off, just going, "Ah!" Because of the ball gag. I'll leave with a parting jest. A couple weeks ago, this very short drunk girl came up to me and she said, if you were 3 inches taller, I could suck your dick standing up. And I had no idea how to respond, so I just went. My name's Eric Walsh. Thank you very much. Keep it going for Eric Walsh. Are you guys ready for your next comic?